shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I'm Christine Nicholas. I'm the chair of the Tourism Advisory Council, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is now 11:04. So with this, it's so wonderful to see everybody in person. So no longer do we need to read the attendance and try to find out who's on the other end, because we have the meeting law and we are adhering to it, so everybody is in person now. So we're going to go around the room. We'll start this way. I'm going to give Tosh a minute. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ross Levi. I'm the Executive Director of the New York State Division of Tourism and a Vice President here at Empire State Development.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rhiannon Edlund, Manager of Tourism Policy Programs here at Empire State Development.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Lacasse. I'm a Senior Vice President at MMGY.
Hi, Leah Kamitsky, Vice President at MMGY.
So, Director of Tourism Marketing, Licensing, and Public Relations at Empire State Development.
Hillary Logan Duchesne, Deputy Director at the Wild Center, Tupper Lake, New York.
Olga Luz Torado, board member of NYSDIA and president of Oak Communications and Solutions.
Alexandra Stanton, member of Tourism Advisory Council and CEO of Empire Global Ventures.
Sarah Emmert, Senior Director of Tourism Policy and Operations at Empire State Development.
Heather McKelney, Director of Tourism Trade Programs at Empire State Development.
I'm Randy Borchardt. I edit and make cultural guides for tourism and have been honored to be invited to participate in these wonderful meetings for quite a while.
Hi, Tom Martinelli, Content Studio New York and publisher of New York by Rail.
Morning, David Gutierrez-Turley, I Love New York, Director of Industry Relations.
And I'm Director of International Marketing for I Love New York, Mark Lee Wilson.
Rich Gagliano, Senior Vice President, Marketing, Empire State Development.
George Damalis, I'm representing State Center Serrano.
David Filipiak, I'm the Business Development Director of North America for Be My Guest and a TAC member.
Good morning, Natasha Caputo, Director of Westchester Tourism and Film, board member of Hudson Valley Tourism, Westchester Hotel Association, and a TAC member.
Great, welcome again. We are going to vote on the minutes. They have been emailed to all of the members in advance, and they're also available on the ESD website. Are there any changes to the minutes proposed by TAC members? None being heard. Motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, Alexandra, and I need a second.
I second.
Natasha, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. The motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, so I'd like to kick things off today with some tourism-related announcements. Good morning, George.
Hi, Christine.
Recently, so George and Tim on the record is in person. Thank you, George.
Oh, thank you.
Some tourism-related announcements recently by Governor Hochul. Last week, the governor delivered her 2026 State of the State address in Albany, which included a number of proposals, tourism proposals. Several involve expanded access to New York State parks. This includes establishing High Falls State Park as the first state park in Rochester, upgrades to Denny Farrell Riverbank State Park in Harlem, and integrating Whirlpool and Devil's Hole state parks in the Niagara Falls State Park footprint. Multiple parks will also receive ADA upgrades and feature inclusive and immersive experiences to help remove barriers and accommodate sensory and mobility needs. The governor proposed the Parks Trade Corps, a pilot program to create hands-on pathways and bridge the transition from school to workforce for young people while supporting critical park improvements. Governor Hochul also issued a proposal to preserve performing arts spaces by providing funding to upgrade aging infrastructure. These funds will help to modernize venues in need and to ensure that they remain open for many years to come. To maximize New York as the country's leading hard cider producer and tap into our agritourism opportunities that cideries presents, Governor Hochul will work with the New York Cider Association to establish New York as the state of cider. The proposal includes marketing the orchards, tasting rooms, and food experience that could become anchor destinations for visitors across the country. I think we'll have to go check that out, Ross.
Sure.
Put that on the list.
I'm always ready to sacrifice.
And finally, the governor wants to redesign a reimagined Jamaica Station. I know Tom Martinelli's smiling about that. This will improve traffic flow, reduce crowding, and building out a world-class station complex. This would provide seamless connections among the Long Island Railroad Main Line, NYC Transit, and AirTrain JFK. Jamaica Station is the 4th busiest station in North America. Last week, Governor Hochul announced the launch of New York State Community World Cup Grant Program, a new statewide initiative that will support locally led public viewing events tied to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This program is designed to expand access to the World Cup experience by supporting community-based celebrations across upstate New York, helping communities create events that reflect local pride and establish a connection with one of the world's most celebrated sporting events. Municipalities, nonprofit organizations, tourism entities, and other eligible partners will be invited to apply. There also will be an opportunity for I Love New York to promote these events and encourage World Cup visitors to stay longer and travel further as part of their experience in New York State. In November, Governor Hochul announced the opening of the new Studio Museum in Harlem. The museum is internationally known for its catalyst role in promoting the world of artists of African descent. The new seven-story, 82,000 square foot building was created expressly for the needs of the museum and its communities. New York State provided nearly $11 million with support from ESD and NYSCA. It's been closed for construction since 2018. And Ross, you were there recently, so we look forward to hearing more about that in your report. Earlier this month, the governor announced the completion of a $19.5 million interior renovation of the Egg Performing Arts Center in Albany's Empire State Plaza. The Transformation Capital Project, the first of its kind since the building was constructed nearly 50 years ago, involved modernizing the venue with architectural and aesthetic refitting while respecting its original design. These upgrades will enhance comfort and accessibility for audiences, ensuring the Egg will continue to serve as a pillar of New York's dynamic arts center for decades to come. The start of winter at Canalside in Buffalo was celebrated in November. Do we have a copy? Yes. Okay. With the opening of the Chandlery, a new $14 million investment by Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation that will serve as the home to Visit Buffalo's new visitor center and a gateway to the waterfront district. Chandlery's opening aligned with the new effort by Visit Buffalo to highlight fun experiences that will run through the winter, from ice skating and curling to an Ice Express train for kids. Visitors can find a retail store and visitor's desk and explore the city using an interactive kiosk that builds itineraries, sends trip plans, and doubles as a photo booth for creating images and digital postcards. And back in November, Governor Hochul announced the opening of the winter season for the Olympic Regional Development Authority ski areas. Whiteface Mountain opened on November 15th, along with Mount von Hogansberg, first named Nordic terrain, becoming the first ski areas of New York to begin the season. New York boasts more ski areas than any other state in the country, and the Olympic Authority's flagship mountains play a central role in the state's publicly supported outdoor recreation network. Bel Air Mountain features an expanded Discovery Lodge, while Gore Mountain unveiled a brand new lodge, The Station, featuring amenities such as a bar and restaurant, retail, lockers, and outdoor patio. At Whiteface Mountain, there is a new fixed grip double chair and 115 high-efficiency snow guns to expand snowmaking. And finally, at Mount von Hovenberg, has seen significant snow farming innovations, including stockpiling production snow at the end of last season, which was preserved through summer and ready for skiing on opening day. Yep, very good. Thanks, Hillary.
My pleasure.
You're out there with a shovel.
Last month, Governor Hochul announced that the New York Power Authority hired then Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh to serve as the next director of New York State Canal Corporation. Walsh had been the mayor since 2018. Walsh succeeded former Canal Corporation Director Brian Stratton, a great friend to tourism and the TAC, who retired at the end of December. And I just want to say that with all of the festivities and celebrating the centennial of the corporation for the canals, Brian did an amazing job. And we really worked closely with him. So we look forward to welcoming Mayor Ben Walsh. For airports over the past few months, there have been several revitalization projects. Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport's $38 million project was awarded $18 million to transform the entire airport campus to create a better, more modern passenger experience. The project also introduced two major cultural and community-focused additions, an expanded veterans area and a new Frederick Douglass cultural area. Ogdensburg International Airport received $18 million towards its $25 million expansion and renovation project to provide travelers with a streamlined state-of-the-art experience and modern amenities. The upgraded airport, located minutes from the U.S.-Canadian border, now includes a completely reimagined passenger experience, including expanded check-in, ticketing, and baggage drop-off areas, a new curbside canopy, and more modern passenger information displays. A new state-of-the-art terminal opened at the Watertown International Airport. This is another major milestone for the North Country. The 25,000 square foot terminal features a spacious lobby, upgraded ticketing and baggage claim areas, and a new passenger jet bridge. This world-class gateway serves the region's most popular destinations, including Thousand Islands and Fort Drum. Lastly, it was announced in November that the 27th and final service area opened along the New York State Thruway in Modena, marking a significant milestone of the $450 million service area redevelopment project. I know, I feel like we've been talking about this for a while. All service areas are now open on the entire 570-mile thruway system. That's a good trivia question. How many miles the thruway? 570. And it's ready to serve residents and visitors alike. Since 2022, more than 68 million customers have visited the service areas. And that concludes our report. I do know that the Olympics are just like 2 weeks away. So even though they're not in New York, we have a fondness for the Olympics, and perhaps pay close attention, because maybe there'll be something to announce in the future about maybe they will come back to New York.
That'd be great.
Just saying. Just putting that out there. That's all I'm going to put out for now. Before Ross kicks me under the table.
No, never.
Now I'll turn it over to Ross for an update on I Love New York program.
Great. Thank you, Christine. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm of the mind that it is not too late to say Happy New Year if you're seeing somebody for the first time until around February 1st. I sort of feel like if the year is old by January 20th, I'll be too depressed. So, right. Well, you may have guessed it's winter. And we know that very well at I Love New York. We are in full steam, so to speak, promoting winter. So I'd like to start my report by sharing our newest I Love New York commercial for winter, which has been running since mid-December. So hopefully you've seen it actually on your streaming and broadcasting platforms. It's going to continue to air in our usual 5-hour drive time throughout the winter season. Here you can see it. Sorry.
Your perfect winter getaway is calling. Escape to the great outdoors. Relax and unwind in style. From the bright lights of the big city to the wide open places beyond it, and everywhere in between. New York State, everything you love. Plan your trip at iloveny.com.
So, we were excited to be on early enough that people could be seeing it and talking to their friends over the holiday season, and thrilled that it will continue, so that as people are thinking about things to do over the various holidays that come up over the next few months, that New York will be top of mind.
And as you watch the Olympics, you may see something that's winter related on the Olympic broadcast.
Well, there you go.
Just saying.
Making that connection.
Little curveball, yeah. Our homework.
So our winter marketing obviously isn't limited to our TV broadcasting. Our winter marketing campaign is also online across our social networks, including Instagram and Facebook, and through paid search and other digital advertising. The campaign emphasizes attractions and activities like outdoor adventures, of course, like skiing and snowboarding, but also budget travel, art, history, and wineries and breweries. And ads are reaching prospective travelers, again, in our 5-hour drive time, including Canada. We've expanded winter content offerings on our website on ilovenewyork.com for the 25-26 season, including new articles on dog-friendly winter getaways, and can't miss winter carnivals and events. We also put a winter spin on our popular 48 Hours In series. You may have seen this, where we do 48 hours in various parts of the state. And so we've spotlighted winter weekend itineraries for areas including Hunter, Saratoga Springs, Ellicottville, and Lake Placid. Sweepstakes are a very popular top engagement driver. And we've utilized those and continue to do so on our social platforms. And it's a great way to work with our partners in the tourism industry across the state. So we've recently launched 2 winter sweepstakes on the I Love New York Instagram account. For the first, we partnered with the Merbeau Inn and Spa for a spa getaway package at any one of their 4 New York locations, including their newest, the Beacon location, which will be opening this spring. For the second sweepstakes, we partnered with Hunter Mountain's Black Ski and Ride Weekend in collaboration with I Love New York's Black Travel program. So the winner will get a ski lesson for 2, including lift tickets and all rentals, plus an overnight stay in Hunter Mountain's deluxe studio room during the Black Ski and Ride Weekend, which is taking place January 31st through February 1st. As video content continues to dominate social feeds, our social media team is working with the new Crowd Riff Creator tool. So this program will allow I Love New York to partner with local content creators who will visit attractions and capture video content at a specific location. We then can use their videos on our social media channels to highlight different attractions and experiences across the state. This tool allows us to source higher quality video footage from all of our tourism regions to showcase a wide diversity of activities and attractions in all 4 seasons. It's a really efficient way to get all kinds of great video content and do kind of some user-generated stuff, which also gets people engaged and excited about our work. After the success of our Accessible Influencer campaign earlier in the year, Accessible New York has partnered with another influencer, this time for a winter adventure. Nikki Walsh, a personal trainer and wheelchair user from Pennsylvania, visited the Catskills last week. Nikki experienced adaptive skiing at Wyndham Mountain's Adaptive Sports Foundation and adaptive hiking in an action track chair with SOAR experiences. And her trip also featured a spa treatment at the Emerson Resort and Spa, a visit to the world's largest kaleidoscope, which is also there at the Emerson, exploring the town of Woodstock, and more cozy additions to an adventurous winter getaway. This content will go live later this month and promote an accessible winter trip to the Catskills through Instagram, TikTok, and a corresponding blog on ilovenewyork.com. So thanks and congratulations to Sarah, Emmer, and everyone else that's been involved. We were so excited with how well this went in the warmer weather that we think it's great to try in winter as well. So we're excited to get that up and running. On the I Love New York website, we are, this isn't winter now, this is a bit of a look ahead. We are working on expanding the landing pages for arguably the 2 biggest events for New York State this year. Again, I'm sure you can guess what they are: America 250 and the FIFA World Cup. Both of those pages on our website will provide a content-rich experience for users planning to travel to New York State for these major events in 2026, and will be continue to be updated regularly. The I Love New York America 250 page is the official quote calendar for America 250 events in New York State. If any of you work with anyone that is putting on an event at all connected to America 250, please encourage them to go to the website and let us know about it so that it could be included in that calendar. Our hope is that if anybody wants to know what's happening in New York State, that they go to our calendar, put in a date, put in a location, or just put in a date and see what's happening all across the state. That'll be an ongoing effort, and if you could assist, that'd be appreciated. So it's been a while since we've talked about our print publications, and so I wanted to take a moment to showcase those materials that our team members work very hard on producing, updating, and distributing throughout the state. Jess Pulver on our team works from a content perspective, Mark Hamilton and his team on the graphic design and layout and conceptualization. As of now, we have a total of 7 different printed pieces that we distribute to consumers. We do that at events, expos, shows, welcome centers, throughway travel plazas, and by request at our website or at our 1-800-CALL NYS call center. Each printed publication serves a different purpose or focuses on a different market. So, for example, the I Love New York Travel Planner is kind of our biggest overall piece. That's right here. It's the most comprehensive piece, meant to be used as a complete guide to the entire state. The current version includes highlights of each vacation region and then articles for getaway inspiration, sort of thematic articles to get people inspired. Topics like family fun, history, accessibility, and food. On average, we distribute about 80,000 copies of the overall travel planner per year. Even in the digital age, you might be surprised, but our roadmap continues to be a favorite among consumers. That it's a full-scale roadmap. One might say an old-school roadmap, right? The current version includes highlights of each vacation region and articles for getaway inspiration with topics like family fun, history, accessibility, and food. And we distribute about 94,000 of these roadmaps, easily making them our most popular printed piece. So yes, more people pick up and ask for our roadmap than they do any of our travel guides. Print is not dead.
Some of those down here, so that the rest of us.
Yes, they'll make their way. We also have a highlights guide, which serves as a quick guide to New York State, featuring must-see attractions in each vacation region. These are particularly effective as handouts at experiential marketing activations like festivals and special events. We know sometimes people don't want the full, 40 or 50 pages. We also don't want to spend all that money if people don't want, so we use the highlights piece for that. The aptly named I Love New York Winter Guide is a dedicated guide to the winter season with trip inspiration, winter events, and downhill and cross-country ski grids and information. A fairly new piece that we created just, I think, a couple years ago is the I Love New York Kids Guide and Activity Book, which offers coloring pages, a word search, and more for the little ones, alongside family-friendly attractions and information. We actually get a lot of schools that request materials from I Love New York, so we make sure to provide these when those requests come in. Finally, we currently have 2 segment program guides. Our I Love New York LGBTQ guide, that's the one with the rainbow-colored balloon on it, offers getaway inspiration and attraction highlights that explore LGBTQ history and pride. And our Path Through History guide organizes historic attractions around the state by the program's 13 themes. That's also a very new piece. It's actually been very important as part of Path Through History weekends, so attractions could distribute those at those events. Every year, we evaluate our printed collateral, determine whether publications need to be updated or whether we need new publications that we don't have. And all of our printed publications, as I mentioned, can be found online at ilovenewyork.com. That's not only to order them, but they're all available in PDF or in flipbook format, so you could actually see them as digital if you don't want the print as well. So next I wanted to spend some time talking about our trade work. It's a very busy time of year, both domestically and internationally, dealing with tour operators, travel agents, and more. The travel trade year kicked off just a couple weeks ago with the American Bus Association's Marketplace. It was held, God, I can't believe it's last week. I was in Reno last week. I led our delegation of over 30 representatives from New York destinations. It's a pretty powerful group, accompanied by our travel trade vendor, who took more than 40 one-on-one appointments on behalf of the state. Our activation included a very impressive booth on the show floor with continuous buyer engagement activities throughout the show. We did trivia. People came up to the booth and they won prizes playing New York trivia. We hosted a New York exclusive breakfast for the 500 buyers in attendance, which has been our tradition with a comedian entertainment provided through the National Comedy Center, and an invitation-only New York operators reception in the evening. The breakfast, I mentioned about the comedian already. For the evening event, we took over a retro arcade and bar called Play Start. So we had over 80 buyers and New York suppliers who came to network and form relationships and frankly just have some fun, that we could thank them on the way in. You know, as we said, there's only so many rooms with hors d'oeuvres you could be at these events. And people told us, well, we know New York always does something different and fun. So we're happy to have the tour operators there, have the opportunity to network with them in a more casual atmosphere. That's been our model for a few years now, going to kind of a less conventional, more fun, interactive setting. The partners love it, and the tour operators love it too. In February and March, I will be once again traveling more than across the pond, across the globe to Australia, to multiple cities for different consumer activations, tour operator meetings, and trade shows, including 2 Visit USA events in Brisbane and Melbourne, Brand USA Australia, and IMM meetings in Sydney. We're also taking advantage of the fact that this is all happening during Sydney Mardi Gras, which is their pride, in case you didn't know. And we'll be joining tour operator Planet Dwellers to host several LGBTQ travel activations. To kick off the weekend and cap off our multi-week in-store campaign with Planet Dwellers, we will be hosting a consumer event and takeover in their high-traffic storefront. On Saturday, a pre-parade reception will be held for up to 150 of their clients, as well as a VIP parade watch party. We're also working on an event with a celebrity chef in Australia, Justine Schofield. She hosts a show there called Everyday Gourmet. It's a cooking show, and at the event, she'll be discussing her time filming 6 episodes while cooking across New York State. So we're going to have 6 episodes that she did, an event to sort of kick off and get excitement around that. On the domestic front, the I Love New York domestic travel trade team, headed up by Heather McElhenney, is putting together our activation plan for the next fiscal year. We hope to continue our involvement with trade shows where we have been present for the last 3 years. That's significant because this is the year that our federal grant that created our domestic travel trade program has sunsetted. So we're excited that we're going to endeavor, and hopefully will, continue doing this work even without the funding that got it launched. We're exploring an expanded presence at the Connect Business Specialty and Sports Travel Marketplace, and possibly a new activation with Sports Events and Tourism Association show. The team is also looking at a larger I Love New York presence at some meeting planners international chapter events that they have. So based on the success of our 2025 program, we expect to again host a receptive operator FAM and meeting planner FAM tour, where we brought receptive operators and meeting planners across the state for the first time since I've been involved with I Love New York. We also plan to continue our educational programs and webinars, including some in-person opportunities to help our TPA partners, for example, to become more ready to welcome groups and do sports tourism and that kind of thing. We're also pursuing an industry-wide survey to gauge bookings as a result of New York State efforts. Our job is really to get the word out there, collect those leads, and get them to our partners. But we'd love some more concrete metrics in terms of the results of our work. So we're hoping to do some survey work to actually find out how many trips are booked, how many room nights are generated, that kind of thing. Want to talk about our support of the tourism industry, and particularly in the forms of tourism grants. Since our last meeting, round 15 of the Market New York grants were announced. You're aware that the Market New York grants are programs that go to outside entities for working capital programs that they do, whether those are traditional marketing campaigns, could be special events, it could be bringing exhibits, that kind of thing. It was another very competitive round. Our grants team, headed up by Kelly Baccarizzo, received over 100 applications for working capital marketing projects, requesting over $25 million for the available $7 million. So just to reiterate that, requests for $25 million, 7 available. I call that popular. This was the first Market New York round where funding for the tourism capital projects to build something was fully integrated into ESD's Regional Council Capital Fund. That used to be kind of a standalone separate. It's now part of the greater REDC program, which also gives money outside of Market New York to tourism program. So it makes much sense for that to be integrated, have similar guidelines, and have the same processes for everything. In total, 39 tourism working capital projects were awarded in round 15. Some examples, there were close to $775,000 for 2 different America 250 working capital projects. One initiative will advertise and promote Fort Ticonderoga and other states as a multi-day experience in the region as a part of America 250, encouraging visitors to stay in the area longer. And then $725,000 was awarded for 4 FIFA World Cup related projects that will engage travelers visiting for the World Cup in June and July to experience other things both in the city and in other parts of the state. Approximately $4.7 million was awarded to 20 arts and cultural based projects, and close to $700,000 for 4 Black tourism related projects. If you want to see a full list of awardees, those are available on the Regional Council website. You could just search Market New York or Regional Economic Development Council, either way, and you'll be able to see that. In just a few moments, you're going to be hearing from our PR agency, MMGY, about I Love New York's press relations program and the work that their team does. Before we get to that, I wanted to share more about a press event that we held just last week. Like I said, I couldn't remember I was in Reno because as soon as I got back from Reno, I repacked to come down to be part of a Black travel media event that we hosted for 10 media members. It was basically kind of a 2-day immersive event, kind of almost like a mini FAM, designed to spotlight New York State's deep historical and cultural connections to the Black community. It allowed us to highlight both legacy landmarks and contemporary voices, reinforcing New York's role as a cornerstone of Black history, creativity, and influence. So the itinerary opened with a behind-the-scenes hard hat tour of the Apollo's Theater ongoing construction, followed by an Apollo experience tour led by Billy Mr. Apollo Mitchell. If you have not met Billy Mitchell, he's the legendary historian of the Apollo since 1965, and what an inspiring guy. But in general, the whole inside of the Apollo Theater is scaffolding right now. Christine joined us. We got to go walk all 4 stories of that scaffolding and see all the great things they have in store for when that opens in the next couple years. Then on that same evening, guests gathered at the Victoria Restaurant inside the New York Renaissance Harlem Hotel for a dinner that featured Caribbean-inspired cuisine and presentations from tour partners from across the state. We, at these intimate events, you'll remember we did this for Gadsby, you'll hear more, we did for Haunted History. We invite select partners to come and join us from our different regions of the state. So for this one, we had representatives from Greater Niagara, the Finger Lakes, Hudson Valley, and New York City, so that each region could share compelling stories that highlighted their historical connections, cultural landmarks, and ongoing contributions to Black heritage across the state. Then the following days, as you heard sneak previewed by Christine, we received a guided tour of the newly reopened Studio Museum of Harlem. Truly a spectacular space. The 2 center pictures, the center and picture on the left, those are of the new Studio Museum. It's been a cornerstone institution celebrating Black artists of African descent for a long time, and it's now going to get to serve that role even more so. And then we concluded with a lunch at the legendary Sylvia's, long revered as the queen of soul food and a cornerstone of Harlem's cultural and culinary legacy. So we were excited to have, these are meant to be intimate, small events, not tons of journalists. We had 10 representing publications like Blavity, Travel Noir, Black Enterprise, and 2190, along with national outlets such as Condé Nast Traveler and the New York Times. So we're excited to be able to provide this opportunity and are excited to see not only the press that it may generate of itself, but the main purpose of this is to sort of whet the appetite, right? Get the journalists excited. Once they've heard everything that's happened about New York State, the last thing I said is, we would love to get you upstate, and there was thunderous applause, right, in terms of getting them to see the rest of the state so that they're covering that as well. But I don't want to go on too much about the PR and steal the thunder of our guests who are going to go over some work too. But I guess I should take a breath and a pause to see if there's any questions on anything I presented so far.
I think you mentioned Beacon at some point. What was that? In the beginning.
Oh, Mirbeau is opening.
Mirbeau, okay, yeah, because that's where I live.
Our sweeps, thank you.
Wonderful.
Our sweepstakes,
Thank you.
the sweepstakes offers a stay at any Mirbeau, including the new one.
Right, okay, because that's activating soon.
Well, the sweepstakes is now,
Yeah, but
the opening is
yeah.
this spring.
Okay, wonderful. Yep, thank you.
What are you hearing from tour operators when you were with the bus organization about their business, both domestically, I'm curious, and then tariffs? I'm just curious, prices of things. People who are going to take long bus tours, can they afford them now? Are those prices up? Where's the market?
Yeah, specifically in the motor coach industry, things I would say are good. So it is Canada and domestic at the ABA. Certainly there are more challenges in Canada, but business is happening. Even the Canadian tour operators told us that they still, they have a loyal client base, and some of them are still interested in the travel. Not that they don't have challenges, not that things are where they were, but they weren't there saying, "Oh my God, it's a disaster, and we've closed our shops."
I guess I'm trying to figure out, are people not opting for flights and then taking buses because it's cheaper? Like, where there's shifts in everyone's pocketbook, right? So I'm just trying to figure out where that is showing up and evidencing.
I think my general vibe, and Heather, feel free to add, but I think my general vibe, and this is domestic, is true, is this work tends to be far more client-oriented than you might guess, that there's actually relationships between these folks and the companies they travel with. And if they've gone and had good experiences, they're continuing to do it. Is the general vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a population too that enjoys being able to just pay the price and have somebody lead them and take them and introduce them to all the things that they might not know on their own or do on their own. So they probably wouldn't be, they may still be getting on an airplane and going on a vacation separately and doing something like that. But the folks that are doing these bus tours and their client base, they like that kind of full service, process. Prices are probably going up a bit, and we're actually meeting on Friday to go over all of the leads and the feedback. But like Ross said, I think it's, that industry has struggled a bit overall because, it's an older demographic, so it's always getting new people interested in. But I think it's staying pretty level right now. Yeah,
because I don't think we were hearing the same thing we were hearing, for example, coming out of COVID. We're like, we're ready to go. We're looking for blah, blah, blah. It's definitely a little cooler than that, but it definitely was not doom and gloom either. I think it was sort of like steady as she goes. And the good news for New York, the other thing we're hearing is people are looking for either new twists on old things or new destinations. They want to go to their clients and say, here's something new that you haven't experienced before, with the Thousand Islands or the Wild Center.
And I could just add to that. I think it's a great question for us to think about, but it is expected that we will see here in the state the most traffic on the roadways through motor coach and just road trips in general because of the 250th and FIFA. So there is this mobility and kind of connectivity, and adding into your clients' packages, either pre, post, and expanding it, because we've done, I think, collectively with you all at I Love New York, a lot of visibility and awareness since COVID.
One thing that's helping us is the price of gas has remained steady, and we rely on that. We do see an issue when gas prices go up that road travel goes down, and that hurts New York State a lot. So hopefully that will remain the same.
And I will say the motor coach operators were definitely talking about tariffs in terms of their equipment. So that's a challenge that they're facing, and as an industry, are talking about.
And domestic in general is strong. While there's some uncertainty about international, numbers will be coming in soon, but domestic is strong. So obviously bus goes along with domestic, so there's a correlation there. But we've seen domestic, at least within New York State, stronger than it's been in a while.
Yes, Russ, do you have any relationship with Rosa Rios? Okay, she's the chair of the America 250. So
Yes, we, Christine and I, both, me on behalf of our Commissioner Hope and I, both sit on the New York 250 Commission. So with both Dr. Rosa and the new head of state parks, the co-chairs, we work with them frequently through that commission. And then frankly, our interagency work, we just had a call with state parks this week about utilizing our calendar. So yeah, there's a lot of good work going on.
good. And are you doing anything with the Navy regarding the tall ships and whatnot?
Yes, with Sail 250. First of all, they've received funding, both from Market New York and New York State as a whole. We continue to talk with them in terms of how we could support. Our main job at I Love New York is promoting it as an event, right? To let people know that it's happening. That's particularly important internationally, I think. As we're going overseas and talking to people about why they should come and be a part of a birthday that's not theirs. When we talk to them about, there's going to be the largest flotilla of ships, peacetime, what is it? The largest peacetime flotilla in the history of mankind. Right. And so, and then it's also going to
If we're still in
include,
peace.
fireworks and, all kinds of other things. So yeah,
Blue Angels.
we're definitely talking, the Blue Angels. So we're definitely using it as a promotional tool.
And Upper Hudson back in 1976, when they had the tall ships come in, which was, very important, lifted up a lot of spirits at the time and also was a big generator of income. They stopped. It was just Lower Manhattan. This time, in fact, we should probably ask Chris O'Brien to come in and brief us on the next, so he's the gentleman that is overseeing the tall ships.
Yeah, I know Chris, yeah.
He's bringing them up the Hudson
Right.
and up the Sound. So, obviously they might not be the big tall ones, but this is to try to spread it out a little bit more so the Hudson Valley could benefit as well.
Yeah, on the hotel side, quite frankly, we are not seeing any requests for the FIFA. We are getting a lot of requests for the Navy or the tall ships, but FIFA has been absolutely dead. Yeah. So I just wanted to, and then also I think today at 12 noon, the mayor is coming to Times Square to make an announcement about junk fees. He's complaining about, hotel destination fees, all kinds of fees on ticketing and all kinds of stuff. So I guess we'll hear.
He changed that, George.
He changed it?
Yeah, his schedule this morning has him going to the Whitney.
Okay.
So it's interesting, he's going to talk about junk fees, but at a museum. So I'm not sure it's only going to focus on hotels. These are some of the fees like if there's a spa at a hotel or you get a hospitality fee or, but also, some of the street vendor bus sellers, they will tell you that it's $35 or $39, but then they tack on a $10 processing fee.
Correct.
Which the tourist is not aware of. So I think he's addressing that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's at 12 noon, so we'll know for sure. But
That's right.
I think and I know I spoke with NYC Tourism this morning about it, and spoke to some of the Broadway ticket sellers. So everybody's sort of waiting to hear what he's going to say.
I know.
But there's no doubt that it's, some tour operators are not working in the best, interest of, adding some of these fees.
Absolutely.
Yes, transparency is key. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to go back to what Alexander was talking about and specifically talk about international tourism. I'm not surprised to know domestic is doing just fine. I'm concerned international is where we're heading. You're going to Australia, you said in March, just perfect because long-term planning is done now with all the changes in visa fees and visa availability. I'm concerned this year is where we're going to see a bigger impact in international tourism than we did this past year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we obviously don't have our, I bring you the visitor numbers when we have those. That happens once a year. But we have other data that we look at. We look at airport arrivals. We look at border crossings. We look at we look at employment. We look at hotel data. The general indication is domestic has been up. International as a whole has been flat and maybe even a little soft, with Canada being way down. That's kind of
For
the
New York
overall
or for
picture.
U.S.?
For the New York State.
For New York State.
For New York
Okay.
State.
And
And
Europe
so-
may now be more depressed in the coming weeks as we, right.
I never make predictions, but in terms of looking at basically 2025.
So New York State International, you're seeing is
I would
flat.
say generally flat, because there have actually been some areas of growth. There's been some markets that have gone up. There's some that have gone slightly down. The only one to go way, way down is Canada.
But I think it's
the
all
initial indication.
It's really throughout the country, because when we talk to our colleagues, and they all complain that they're not getting international travelers. Yeah.
From
international countries
Into-
into the U.S. in general. Yeah.
How do we know if they're not simply arriving into New York and continuing to other destinations versus remaining in New York?
Because you take not just the arrival information, but then you look at the hotel data. Like I said, you kind of look at the whole picture, right? How many rooms sold, how much RevPAR, how much revenue per room. So you put all that together. And then, like I said, eventually, mid-year-ish, we actually have the actual visitor numbers, and those are much more concrete, but that's on a slower timeline.
Do you have a pulse on what changes have been made over the past year that may impact international appetite to come here versus going somewhere else?
Beyond the federal level?
Things. No, at the federal level. I'm hearing things, but I don't know what's the exact charge now to get a visa to come into the U.S. or what is the a friend of mine in Europe had to do an ESD or something, and now they ask for his social handles. I'm just curious what changes have happened. We're not hearing about them, but I know that international is hearing about them, and it's like, I'll just go to Europe instead. And I'm just curious if you have a pulse of what these changes have been.
A little.
I'm not aware of
I'm
them.
hearing the same things you do. We're also a member of U.S. Travel, and they send us like weekly updates on things. So, yeah, we have an awareness. The truth is, our work doesn't change a whole lot, except in terms of which markets. We're constantly looking.
You added extra trips going to Canada. I mean, when you.
Oh, yeah, and you work.
So
You did,
right after
yeah.
that issue with the Canadian border, we. And the governor, you guys were very vocal about letting Canada know that they're welcome to come, and that New York shouldn't be judged as, New York is very unique. Not only are we the neighbor for Canada, but we're also a bit of a different state, a different city. So I think both the governor's done she recognizes it, and she's been vocal about it. You ended up doing that extra trip to Canada, and I think NYC and company is also concerned about it and doing more in-market, meaning in Canada, workshops and visitations to Canada.
And then looking at, like I said, are there markets that are, we have our core international markets, Germany, UK, Canada, and Australia, and like German speaking and that kind of thing. But we're always looking at new opportunities, emerging opportunities. So you've heard me talk at past meetings, we joined a brand USA Nordic sales mission. We've looked at Central America because there are other markets, like I said, that in fact are going up. So the main way we adapt to those things is seeing if there are opportunities of places to get that invitation out. We generally don't pull out of any markets, at least without a real big cause, because to keep making that invitation is really important. There might be some scaling, but generally that's the way.
Try to be strategic with our paid media efforts as well as the industry efforts. And good example of not pulling out of a market with Canada. When if some reports show border crossings are down 20%, 30%, that still means 70% are coming. There's no reason to pull out of that market. And we decided from a paid communication standpoint to not necessarily address what's going on head on, like being cutesy with, we still look like our marketing was still about come visit these attractions, these are the things you love. on the PR, not PR side, but on the communication side from the governor, she would go out and speak about, we still love your neighbor. So we get kind of the 1-2 punch of let sort of the governor's office speak that way, and the marketing continue to just be very straightforward, not sort of get into the politics within the marketing itself.
I agree that your tactics and strategies probably don't change much. I guess I'm more interested personally, we know what the sentiment changes are, but what are the actual logistic changes? And I don't know if I have a pulse
Okay,
on
well,
what
we
that
can,
is.
we can take a look.
Right.
It's changing.
Those logistics change.
They're changing all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's things that are proposals, but then go on hold and.
Yeah, we might hear about it and then we realize it wasn't enacted.
Yeah.
But we know, like you said, U.S. travels, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the visa process more streamlined, in and out of airports easier. Anything that adds friction to international visitors coming in, that's what they're on top of. So we can try to get more updates on specifically what they've been successful at.
Yeah, Dave, one of the things that we've seen is that when the president makes certain comments, like for instance, when he said that they're restricting 75 countries, okay? He said immigrant visas, but the average person thinks that immigrant visas includes tourist visas. You see, it has nothing to do with tourist visas, so they're all confused. That's exactly
I
right.
read the headline, I'm like, oh shit, there goes those countries.
Exactly.
But reality, as soon as I read the article, I'm like, immigrant visas, that doesn't impact tourist visas.
That's right.
So, so still
But it's a
logistically, I'm like,
distinction
what?
without a difference in the sense that it still makes everyone not feel welcome.
Exactly. Correct.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and plus, we have seen at least threats by the federal level to pull back legally granted current visas of certain populations, right? We've seen those sort of threats come out of DC. And so I mean, we can't just act like everything is the same.
There's so much
right?
going
It's
on, and I'm
scary.
trying to just get a handle on what is impacting the international tourist from coming in here. Does it cost more? Do they have to give up more information, like your social handles, which has been proven?
Yes.
Are visas being delayed more at state departments in those countries? I don't know yet what those are, but those all have a very tangible impact of international volume this year.
Yeah, and also talking to some of the international guests, they will tell you that they are being told that the immigration officers, they use their own discretion when you get to immigration. So essentially, if you get a visa and you come here, the immigration officer can send you back. So they don't want to take a chance and just buy the ticket and come over. It's a lot of miscommunication.
I agree with you, Rich. Even if it's 20, 30% down, that still means 70% are coming, and you focus on the 70%. But we also just need to be aware.
We can ignore it.
Why the 30% aren't coming, because you can market the heck out of something. But if they logistically just don't want to come, there's not much you can.
Some of it's a
market.
mindset. Some of it's just, we don't like you anymore, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Regardless of logistics. Some of it are just, I'm fearful, and some of it is probably true.
Yeah, and finally, don't forget, if we go to Iran, all the Middle Eastern countries are not coming because they're all waiting to see what's going to happen in Iran. And also, if we go to Greenland, you see. So there's a lot of fear, It's a lot of fear.
Understandable.
Well, we'll continue to do the work, which is, we to some degree we'll influence what we can influence.
This is only anecdotal.
Well, domestic for sure, but also we're not giving it all up on international. Like I said, we know that most of our feeder markets are still strong, with the exception of Canada. I don't think necessarily a growth time, but you're not seeing huge drops yet. And we're looking for other opportunities from places where people are coming. As we're all saying, this changes day to day.
Right. And giving up is not, like, COVID was different. Things were literally shut down. And we decided, we thought about that during COVID. Do we put work out there to sort of keep the brand top of mind? And we saw Vegas doing things like that. We're here when things are ready. And we decided, our research showed that during COVID, people still feel that when things are open, I still feel the same way about where I want to travel to. So we decided to save our money and not broadcast that. New York is still here. I think people understand it. New York is still here. If it was a New York specific issue, maybe we would have addressed it. But our research showed that that's not needed. So we kind of held back there. But on this is different. This is not, there's no world in which we're giving up on marketing international. If anything, we should go stronger now.
We also, I mean, we do live in a budget year world where we talk about this year and we measure things in 12 months. But in reality, all of us have a list of places we want to go to in our life. And if people are looking at New York, they might not get here this year or next year, but in 2 years, 3 years, I mean, maybe we're a destination for people in their lifetime. And the more we tell them about the great things that we have, you know, maybe they want to go to one of our beaches and they might be planning a longer trip to New York. That could be 3 weeks. And they'll go to the Adirondacks and the Empire State Building and the beach and, you know, Western. So maybe they aren't going to be coming in 12 months and within the next 12 months, but maybe we're planting that seed now for a longer trip later.
Deferring travel, I think, is going to be a real thing this year.
Yes.
Deferring,
I think
not
that's right.
saying I no longer want to come to
Right.
US or New York. I'm just going to wait.
We're just still show them how great we are.
And then the last thing I'll mention is because so much of our international work is actually trade focused, not consumer focused, that's really important, right? When we're talking to a tour operator, or a travel agent, training travel agents, et cetera, these are for people that are, first of all, the companies need to work a year and a half or 2 years ahead of time to put these packages together. And then they're working with customers that are planning a year out or so. So the trade work remains even more important because it's not about today, it's about guesses from a year and a half.
Ross, what kind of impact are you seeing with the Brand USA, the significant cut in funding with Brand USA? What kind of impact would you see with that?
Yeah, depending how that ends up,
right?
Because it's still in flux. Brand USA, we've had a vigorous partnership with them for many years. It's been very productive. It allows us to do more consumer-facing advertising in international markets. We don't want to see that funding go down, so we're watching it very closely because we still have a partnership in with them. We're still planning to. You know, we want our money to go as far as possible. We want them to still be in existence.
Sure.
So we're watching it carefully.
Ross, I wanted to pick up on something you said earlier about the tourism industry looking for hacks or twists. And while it seems that there's for obvious reasons, a heavy focus on historical, sports, and recreation as what I think are the main drivers probably of our
Arts.
Yes, and arts.
Yeah, and culinary. There's a lot.
Well, so I wanted to raise engineering tourism. So a couple of things. When I was reading the materials before coming today, and I saw at the Canal Corporation, the new appointment, we have so many upstate installations of extraordinary, whether water connected or not, examples of great engineering. We certainly have STEM-focused museums. 9 to 10% of all college graduates are getting an engineering degree. And as I think about future-forward sectors, how we have techified the arts, how even think about, you know, the Intrepid, right, Dave? I mean, there's a lot of techified engineering-y Port Authority, right, that I think are very interesting. And Christine, I don't know about you, but, you know, with my teens, we don't just go to beaches. We went to Panama. We spent 2 days in and around the Panama Canal, right? We then went to the University of Marine Engineering there, and we ran sims on New York Harbor, right? The idea is to go to places, certainly with, let's make it like 9 to 18, 19-year-olds, certainly that is a little more interesting than just go have fun. But we are so rich as a state in assets. And I wonder if there's a packaging. So I want to throw it out to the group to see if, as we think about additional hacks, is there something to the idea there?
Great, we'll take a look. I will mention the Path Through History program already. Now that's just history, but does have a theme. One of its themes is canals and transportations as an example of that. So we do some work now in terms of curating some experiences like that. But I think it's an interesting point to
The
look at.
Southeast Tourism Entity has now launched tourism, and they've got NASA and they're this, and they've packaged. And when I was putting in Panama last year, I started to get all these AI things coming through about engineering tours. How old are your kids, and I wonder if that's not a way to lure families.
Well, keep in mind the museum of the Strong Museum.
Yes.
They have done such a remarkable job.
Yes.
Cultivating the STEM visitor.
Yes.
And then, you know, there's just, when you go upstate, they do a lot. And
Sure.
Syracuse is doing a lot as well.
Well, in Green Tech and the Emerald
Yep.
City, and they always were, but I'm not sure anyone's put it together.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting modern approach. Something to think about.
Thank you.
Great. Well, so now, without further ado, we are going to, at past meetings, it's been a while since we've done it, that we've taken a look, a little deeper dive on some of the work we do, rather than just the quick updates that I do for you. And so this month, we want to give you a bit more information about our PR work, our press relations work, which you know is headed by Lisa Soto here on our team. And we've invited our PR agency, MMGY, to give an overview of the work that they do in cooperation with us. So I'm happy to introduce Maggie LaCase and Leah Comiskey from MMGY, who help keep our program so successful. Leah and Maggie.
Dun, dun. Cue the fireworks, Rhiannon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here today. We're really excited to give you an update on the great work that we've been doing, and it's also just an honor to work along all of your sides to really enhance awareness for the great state of New York. Today we wanted to start with an intro on kind of a macro look of how we go about increasing awareness and exposure from a national and a regional level. You can hit that next slide for me. So really, creative storytelling is at the cornerstone of everything that we do, and we spend a lot of time at the beginning of each fiscal year really narrowing down what our ongoing news engine for the year is going to look like. And this includes everything from really sitting down and developing a thoughtful editorial calendar, taking into account all of those news and announcements that we'll have coming down the pipeline, building out that evergreen content and what that looks like and how we can kind of get journalists really interacted with that. We've seen some great play that we'll share later on from things like Halloween that have really just taken off with some big national publications. Thought leadership, always we like to get Ross out there in the news and some of our other partners. So it's whether it's broadcast opportunity or a more dedicated interview, that's always integrated into everything that we're doing. Trend watching and newsjacking is something that we really pride ourselves on, whether it's cowboy core and talking about all of our great ranches throughout New York State, or even, finding ways to take in like the Stranger Things phenomena that's been going on and how we plug Montauk into that story, or taking advantage of Sabrina Carpenter being on the stage in an I Love New York studded outfit. We're always looking to newsjack and take those opportunities the best ways that we can. Leah's going to talk a little bit later on about our group and individual press trip strategy, because that's really shifted over the course of the last few years. And then, of course, just awards, accolades, and how we get on those best of lists and keep New York top of mind. But this robust approach really allows us to hit and surpass those KPIs that we set out at the beginning of each fiscal year, and also allows us to make sure that we're thoughtfully, getting every region of our great state into, those right stories with the right media. That's really important for us. So next up, we wanted to talk a little bit about our research at MMGY. I'm sure you are familiar with our Portrait of the American Traveler study. Today, we wanted to share some outtakes from our winter edition that just came out this past December. Some really great stats in here about what travelers are doing for 2026 and what's going to be a focus on the year ahead. And obviously, it's not a shock that FIFA World Cup is our #1 slide. I know Ross already talked about this, but some really interesting stats on this next slide that we'll walk through. So 21% of leisure travelers plan to travel specifically for FIFA this year. And these travelers are coming for that once-in-a-lifetime experience to really support their favorite team. And we're seeing older generations just really want to be a part of this global atmosphere and culture that's going to be coming through. It's noted that travelers will spend at minimum $3,000 each, and boomers are probably going to be spending more on these experiences. And then what's really interesting is that over 44% intend to bring either a partner or a spouse. And then a lot of those Gen Zers are looking to share this with more friends, bringing more group travel to the mix. And then in addition to attending the games, we're seeing that travelers are looking to seek out other experiences. They're going to be, going to top activities like food and drink and cultural or historic sites, visiting family or friends in the areas. In fact, 39% of Gen Zers will explore other cities and destinations during the trip that they'll take this year. It's no surprise that culinary travel is still remaining a top driver for travelers. I am certainly guilty of this. I usually have more culinary spots than I have time on a trip when I'm taking a vacation. But over 56% of travelers, so over half of travelers, choose a destination based on its culinary scene, which is a really amazing fact. Some interesting notes here. Authentic cuisine is topping the list with growing interest in distillery and brewery tours. We keep on seeing those brewery tours take the win. And then more often we're seeing some stats leaning into cooking classes and more experiential experiences. In fact, interest in award-winning restaurants is down. It's down 13%. So this is really just showing that travelers are more drawn to these interactive experiences and that formal prestige dining is becoming less of a priority. The most influential factor in culinary is still word of mouth. Those recommendations that you get from your family and friends. They know the best tips on where you should go eat and what you should do. Younger generations are obviously flocking to social media, taking their dips from influencers and that peer-to-peer feedback. And then when we take a closer look at the culinary traveler, you see some of those points that drive them. So this desire to unplug, this experiencing new cuisine, spending time with loved ones, exploring nature and the outdoors. In fact, exploring nature on the outdoors is one of our top 5 drivers of travel motivation, continued on from 2025 into 2026. But it's lovely to see that some of those top destinations that culinary travelers are flocking to, you see New York City as number 4th on that list. And really closely in that 70%.
I'm going to count us as number 2 because the other 3 were all
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry.
This isn't
Very fascinating.
Hawaii?
Yeah, right?
It's a little weird, no? Hawaii? Not Paris, not great. Really? Hawaii in the top 3?
American, yeah.
I see.
International is American.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any barbecue.
Yeah.
Texas barbecue.
No.
Why is having the charts?
Texas
just
right
the
now.
barbecue.
Diverse in terms of what cuisines.
All right, so then we'll go into some of these overall activities that seem to be really shaping vacation plannings for the year ahead. We see beach experiences still in that number 1 spot, visiting a state or national park, historical site, obviously with America 250 coming into play, that makes a lot of sense. Shopping, visiting museums. I love to see that we still have concerts and music festivals bumping up on this list. We've seen a lot of statistics leaning into that event-driven travel that still is remaining a top driver. So just really interesting stats, and we're happy to share these with you as well so you guys can take them home. Next up, Leah is going to take us through some of the media trends that are shaping our news engine for this year.
Yeah, so on the next slide, you'll see these are the biggest trends that we're looking at that are going to influence how we're talking to media for this upcoming year. These trends are really pulled from outlets like Booking.com, Expedia, Skift, Wall Street Journal, Condé Nast Traveler. So when you look at what they're covering, this is what we're going to be pitching and how it relates to New York. So rail travel is having a moment. It's really being romanticized again. It's not really about getting to the destination, but the rail travel itself is part of a premium experience and what people want to get out of their trip. So we are also looking at luxury tourism. This is a market that is continuing to rise. I don't think this is news to everyone, but how the luxury traveler is looking at booking is shifting a little bit. They're looking to spend more money, but on fewer trips. And they're looking for more once in a lifetime experience that are personalized to them. It's no surprise fan voyages with with FIFA World Cup is going to be a big trend this year. It's not just, FIFA, but sports tourism, concert tourism, and people are planning entire trips around that. I think I was at the Travel and Leisure conference earlier this year, and they mentioned that people are spending about 3 to 4 days in a destination tied around that sporting event or concert. Literary tourism was a trend last year. It's continuing to rise again this year. So people are planning trips around the real world settings behind their favorite stories. So it's not just set jetting that we've seen, but now, book and literary tourism is rising even more high on the stage. Nature exploration is taking center stage, so outdoor-driven travel continues to boom because people are looking for awe, adventure, but this also ties into a mental reset and wellness tourism, which is another one of our trends that we have here as well. People are moving past just going to a spa, but they're looking for more holistic journeys that are focused on mental health and longevity. I'm sure you've seen longevity is a hot buzzword for this year when it comes to wellness travel.
Sorry, are these trends for U.S. destinations, or is this a global trend?
This is a global trend, but these are the trends that that the media are covering. So that's why we're looking at these, because we're going to insert New York State into those topics. So just a quick look at some of the media moments across New York State that we've worked on over the last year. If you go to the next slide, our hosting strategy, we really tied a lot of our group press trip themes to these big moments in New York State. So the Erie Canal Bicentennial was something incredibly popular. We did a group press trip with several media from outlets like Thrillist, Matador Network. They all did features. We had an individual visit to the Erie Canal where a traveler writer from Travel and Leisure stayed on an Erie Canal boat for 3 days and traveled it, and it was a really fantastic feature. In October, we hosted our America 250 press trip, which really introduced our media journalists to a lot of the historical aspects of our state and our Path Through History program. And we've been talking about America 250 for the entire year. We're going to continue talking about it for an entire year, and it really is such a hot topic with the media and press. We also will be hosting our ski and spa press trip tied to the Winter Olympics this February. So we're looking forward to that one in the next month. What we did new this year, which we were really excited about and saw a lot of success on, was shifting our media event strategy slightly to one larger media event and then several small events, part of our intimate media event series, which Ross talked about, our Black Travel one. But the other two that we hosted were The Great Gatsby and The Gilded Age. It was The Great Gatsby's 100th anniversary last year, so we celebrated that in Long Island with 10 journalists, brought them to see many of the Gilded Age mansions out there, and then ended with an overnight stay and a Gatsby-themed dinner at Oheka Castle in Long Island, which was really fun to have that experience in the area that inspired the book. We also hosted a Haunted New York intimate media event where we brought journalists to the Hudson Valley and the Catskills to visit some of our haunted history trail sites. And we did a really fun overnight paranormal experience in the Catskills. We may have seen a ghost, who knows, but it was really fun. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that, these intimate media events, mini FAMs, as we also can call them, really start to generate coverage. A lot of the times our media events are here to introduce media to the the facets of the state, but we were really excited to see several pieces on Condé Nast Traveler, Secret NYC, Town and Country for the Gatsby event. So these are not only generating awareness for us, but they're also generating coverage for our partners. And
I'll just emphasize that that's a real twofer, right? That the main reason we actually do these events, like I said, is to whet people's appetite of all that awaits them across New York State, and to establish relationships so that they come to us when they're working on pieces and that we can easily go to them and pitch. to do all that and then to get coverage for the event itself is actually kind of a bonus. Because the purpose of doing the event isn't first and foremost the event they're on. It's actually what's going to happen after that event. So it really is like exponentially a good value in terms of our press.
Yeah, so we're really excited to explore doing new themes in the upcoming year.
I would imagine this is where the engineering and architecture tourism plays a role.
Absolutely.
As a potential
Fits in
theme.
better
Yeah.
than a package.
And I will say, we do plan these out far in advance. The Halloween tour was in August. So if you can get a bunch of journalists from Condé Nast Traveler in the Halloween mindset in the hot August heat in upstate New York, we're doing a good job.
Can I ask you about your influencers? Have you developed a core set of influencers who are travel influencers who you're working with in some way?
Yes. So there are partnerships that the digital team works on with influencers, and we are starting to work with influencers on an earn capacity. So inviting them to come out to these destinations and cover it without a paid partnership.
Yeah, that's the distinction. You've heard us talk about our influencer work that we did for accessibility. That's paid influencers. And then what we're doing is, frankly, the definition of what an influencer is fuzzy and getting fuzzier, right? Because we will have influencers attend our media events and do coverage, and we don't pay. That's earned in PR.
Yeah.
Then there are influencers that we sometimes pay to do campaigns and partnerships with. So there's both.
The old school paid, owned, earned has become much more blurred. Is the simplest way.
I assume you have what, a minimum of like they have 1 million followers, or you have you need
criteria.
Yeah, we have criteria that we work with on an earned, subject. It's a less follower. If they have higher followers, they're going to ask for payment. So we look through a criteria. We have vetting systems. We look at their engagement rate, which is, I think, even more important than number of followers sometimes. So, you're reaching an engaged audience with that person. But yes, we have a very thorough vetting process.
I'm curious. It seems to me that, likely in families, women are the driving force for arranging and booking trips. Women are also the driving force for buying health items for households. I mean, the amount of women in their between 30 and 50 who are buying now off of TikTok and Insta, and who I was looking up before coming here are, following some of these travel influencers. I bet I'm just curious how we can propel that forward.
Yeah, I mean, content creators and social media influencers are increasingly an incredibly important point, an aspect for us to promote the destination to. So going into this next slide, actually, this was the first year that we invited content creators and social media influencers to our media night event. So, this was hosted in October. Because we were only doing one big event rather than multiple seasonal events, we really wanted to make this bigger and more exciting and really drive, people to attend. We had over 90 attendees. A lot of them made up social media influencers. So part of the event, Ross led a panel where we talked about America 250, FIFA World Cup, and the Olympics upcoming in Orta. So we were really excited to have an engaged group of media and influencers attend this. We actually, because one of the attendees was from the New York Times, they included us in their 52 places roundup of America 250 events, which is just a direct result of that panel, which we were really excited to see. We also had, a performance from someone in Hamilton come and talk about that kind of tie to America 250. We had food and beverage programs that were based off of the various dishes of New York State that are iconic. So we were really excited to be able to bring this new experience to the New York Historical this last October. And we definitely think it was an excess to talk about where to go in 2026 in New York State. And then on the next slide, we also launched our I Love New York PR Instagram, where we talk about a lot of the coverage that our team secures. So you can follow that. It includes these highlights in Travel and Leisure, Vogue, AAA, Condé Nast Traveler. So we're regularly posting stories that we secure. We're also looking at how can we evolve this? Because a lot of media and influencers follow us on that channel. So we are taking a look too at, maybe we're incorporating story ideas into that with images. And this is something that you could pitch your editor or pitch, a different publication to kind of get them thinking more about what they can be covering about New York State.
And what about YouTube?
We are not doing
You're
YouTube
not
on
doing
our
YouTube.
side.
We do on I Love New York.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Any questions for us? Great. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay, track meeting, that's me. Wednesday, March 18th, we're going to the New York State Museum in Albany. Hope to see you there.
I want to point out, Christine, for those who are New York City folk, that's the same day as the New York City Tourism Annual Meeting.
It is, I know.
It happened last year,
It
too.
happened last year, too.
You're also in the midst of some school spring break.
Oh, really? It also is the same day as the 250, but that's in Albany as well.
That hasn't been
So
determined
we're
yet.
tring to.
They
work
haven't
that
determined
together.
it yet.
Okay.
but
Much
it may
going
be.
on.
Yep, always.
The
Yeah.
commission.
Yes. They haven't set the date
thought it
yet,
was
but they were
February 11th.
toying with that date.
Yeah. Well,
Albany. All I will say
We'll
is,
see.
we put this flag in the
First.
ground
I knew you were going to say that. I was
last
like, 'cause it's on
November,
my calendar.
which is why we put them out a year ahead of time, so.
all righty. Without any other questions?
Yeah, I just have
Okay.
just a quick announcement. I think at the last meeting I had, and meeting before that, I think I've been mentioning this a lot. We're doing the New York 250, the Untold Stories. So we have the link that's available that I can send to everybody. I don't know if I could send it to you guys and you could distribute it to everybody. But if you're not on their mailing list, you can give me your information and I can make sure that you get it. So we have that form. Huh?
Or affiliated with Untold Stories? Will there be an
Not
event?
yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Right now, it is, we have it in the form of a flip book, so some of the stories we already have are in the flip book. We're trying to get more. We're trying to get 250 untold stories. We now have 70, so we've got, a little less than 200 to go. So I can make that link available that you can also distribute, and you just, you can fill out the form and say, I think this would be a good addition to your list.
I got some stories.
Oh, good.
I just want to add one comment and say
Yeah.
thank you to the team at I Love New York because
Yes.
I think the DMOs and the TPAs receiving that TPA DMO digest was really a smart idea because I shared it with all my staff. So this was an email to us so that we could share all the activity that related to our day-to-day trade and certainly the great stuff that you're doing in the PR front. So I know I didn't see it in the report,
No,
but
I
I
did.
wanted to highlight it
Thank you.
because I think
I
for
didn't
the
know if it was,
record,
I didn't know if it was too in the weeds, but yeah, no,
I know it's in tune the weeds, but what you do really helps all of
Good.
us and what we do in our regions. And I just thought it was well done.
Yeah, I mean, the I Love New York team as a whole is reaching out to our TPA partners,
Right.
if not, maybe not daily, but not far from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the digital team asking for ideas for a blog, whether it's the PR team letting them know about a break that occurred or an event that's coming up, whether it's the trade team saying we're having a webinar, right? Like, we're working with the TPAs all the time. And so we wanted to create a tool that every couple of months is putting all that information in one place.
With the deadlines
right?
and the
so that way,
contacts.
you don't have to just piece it
great.
together. It's kind of a one-stop shop to keep. So that's really great to hear. Thank you. And we launched it just in January.
Correct.
We're going to be doing it every 2 months. So we're also welcome any suggestions that our partners have in terms of how to make it a useful tool. So thank you.
Great. Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I happen to love the in
What's that?
person.
Oh, I need to tell the time. Sorry. 12:27, we adjourned the meeting. So thank you all. Appreciate all your input, and I think it's just fabulous being all together.
Yes, indeed.
And I know it'll be a little challenging, and we'll do our best to inform you in advance and understand the issues. Remember, the rule is that you cannot miss 2 meetings in a
Right,
row.
in theory, right. In theory,
So-
if you miss, after you miss 2 meetings in a row, in theory, you're considered resigned.
If you miss the third.
But
If you miss the
if you miss the
So
third.
you can't miss 3 meetings in a row.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you miss 3 meetings in a row. So, I mean, look, I hope that you can make each meeting, and if there's a serious issue, I mean, are we locked in stone on the dates that we?
We are, I would say we are for this year, but that's why we try to do it ahead of time. And I will also say you realize, you all know, we started last year, we continued this year, that we're being much more intentional about moving around the state,
Yeah.
right? That we do 1 meeting in Albany, 3 meetings in New York City, and then 1 somewhere else in the state. So that's kind of the case, and they're interspersed, right? So that way, to that
You'll
point
always
we
be able
made,
to make
if you
2.
have to miss 1, okay, we'll catch you at the next one. But we'd love to see you at all of them.
Yeah. And the September meeting being away from New York City was actually brought to us by the members because it was just too difficult to come in during the United Nations General Assembly. It was the hotels, everything, it was just too much. So, and with back to school and with 9/11, we had to move it, that week is 2 weeks or when UNG is in town. So, so hopefully you can plan ahead and make that one. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So nice to see you. Miss Hillis, I want to on one of your next trips, and maybe I can connect you if that's okay. Have you?